a video here on rotary polishers and the ones that I have in my tool arsenal. And I'm going to go over just a little bit about why I have them and what they're used for as far as what I do in my business. And I just want to do a generalized review here on all the tools, and I'm going to individually make a video reviewing each tool, and then I'm going to try to do a little demonstration for all of you guys to see a little bit about what I have and what I use. And the tools are ranging from left to right. We have a DeWalt 7-inch to 9-inch, industrial grade buffer. We have the Flex PE 14-2. We have the Black & Decker BuffMaster. This is my first buffer. I've had this tool since 1990. Incredible machine, and I still use it today. Moving over here, we have a Craftsman angle grinder that actually convert to do various surface correcting jobs, whether it's aluminum castings that I'm grinding down or parting lines on sculptures or whatever. I use that tool. Then we have the Flex 3401, which is a dual action force rotation tool, one of my favorite tools. We have the Flex compact rotary tool, and I have my Makita cordless drill showing here with the 3-inch backing plate, and I use that quite often to do like small touch-ups and various jobs. So let's just go over all of these tools, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about each one. All right, guys, I got the camera strapped on my chest, and I'm going to go over just a quick overview of each tool that I have here on my work table. So this is the DeWalt. They would consider this an industrial commercial grade rotary polisher, and this is like the newer version of the polishers that I learned on about 28 years ago. This one, it's really good design ergonomically. You have the dial right here for your speed. This goes from 600 up to 3500. It's got a nice variable control trigger. If you see here, you get some nice protection screens that cover the armature of the motors. This is usually how these things die out because the brushes are right here. And back in the days, we never had this. So any kind of body shop dust or any particulate matter in the air that would get in here, it would cake up, eventually cause the armature to spark a lot and burn out the motors. But no, this is very well designed. It's got a nice, rubber grip, which I like. And something that they never did back in the days is that they put rubber encasement all around here. This is really useful, especially when you're working on a door or a fender and you're getting close to the side view mirrors. If this was exposed metal like they were, back in the days, there's a very good chance that you could scratch the mirror, you could scratch the paint just by getting up and under there, because these units are a little bit bigger. And it's got here a built-in resting pad, so when you flip it upside down, it'll rest on these two spots here. And the arbor lockout is right here, so you never have an issue of accidentally hitting it because it's recessed. Very, very good design. And under here, if you look at the unit, there's a little bit of room that you could probably go under there and grab it, but I wouldn't recommend it just for the speed that this thing turns at. And I personally just don't feel comfortable doing that. I like to just use it with this handle here. But overall, the DeWalt, like I said, these are relatively affordable. If any of you guys work or have worked in a body shop, you either worked with this tool or you worked with the Makita or possibly the 3M. They're all around the same price. They're like $200. Retail, wholesale, these are like $175 to $180. That's what I would buy these for. And I use this machine a lot just because, like I said, it's not the most expensive machine out of the bunch that I have here. I use this primarily to cut and buff clear coats, solid surface materials. I do a lot of buffing with this tool on stainless steel, on aluminum, on lacquer finishes, polyester finishes. All right, guys, next up is one of my favorite tools, is the Flex PE 14-2. This tool is really, really cool because, back in the days, the rotary buffers were extremely heavy, extremely cumbersome, and you had to be in good shape to be, bent down and squatting and working, hours throughout the day with any of those big heavy machines that were like 15, 16 pounds. This is a really cool machine. It weighs about, I believe it's like 5 pounds or 5.5 pounds. Super ergonomic. You guys can see here, you got the trigger. It's got a soft start trigger. Your lock is right here. You could change the RPM on the fly. And what's really cool about this, it has the rubber encasement up here, so you could actually take this handle off, and it's so easy to control that you could hold it here. Usually if you're going to hold it here, I recommend a different backing pad so it pushes the backing pad a little further forward, because like I said, if this is spinning, if you could see there, you could chew up your fingers if you accidentally know what you're doing. So like I said, I don't ever use it like this, but some guys do. I'm just so used to holding it with the regular trigger. The lockout is here. Like I said, it's also recessed, so you don't ever have an issue of hitting it by accident when you're working with the machine. Now, I call this machine a light duty machine because this starts out at 600 RPM and it only goes up to 2100 RPM. This machine is lightweight, it runs cool, it does what it needs to do, but this machine, I can't use this to do stainless steel polishing. I can't use this to do like serious color sanding and correction on like a polyester, like a really hard surface, whether it's like a carbon fiber component or something that comes out of a mold. This just won't cut it. That's where you got to move on to more of the industrial rated machines like the DeWalt or my old school Black & Decker BuffMaster. This is my machine of choice when I do anything heavy duty. It's just unstoppable. You can't kill this machine. But like I said, this is a cool machine because typical rotary polishers are very hard to use. You have to know what you're doing. But with something like this, being that it's lightweight and it doesn't go up to 3,000 or 3,500 RPM, it's relatively safe. This is a very safe machine, very easy to use, extremely easy to control. I mean, you can like hold this machine out, with one hand, like I'm showing right here, and no problem. Now, if I go try to hold, the DeWalt with one hand, I'm going to tell you one thing. It's a hell of a lot heavier. I mean, I could do it, but it's a hell of a lot heavier. Now, if I go try to hold my Black & Decker, this thing is heavy. But like I said, just to show you the weight difference. So you have this is rated about 7 pounds, this is about 5.5. There's a big difference between holding these two. This is about 16 pounds. But overall, I mean, this is one of my favorite machines. It's not cheap, but I'm going to explain to you why it's so good in a few moments. Because it runs cool, it's got really good ergonomic, easy to control. I like the soft trigger start, that's great. And like I said, it's just a really good machine. So this is definitely worth buying. I mean, like I said, if you could afford it, I tell you, if you want a rotary polisher, not just for cars, this is just for anything. Whether you want to polish furniture, you want to do lacquer, whatever. This is a great machine to start with where you don't have the risk of having a very heavily weighted machine that goes at an excessive RPM that you could actually damage something. This is a very safe machine if you're going to start rotary polishing. I totally recommend this machine, if you're just a beginner or even a novice. And let's say you've been using dual actions for a while since you got into it. Pick one of these up. I mean, you're going to see with severe surface correction, color sanding, anything like that, this machine is going to come in handy and it's worth having. So this is the holy grail, and I'm going to show you this here. This is my original Black & Decker BuffMaster. I've owned this tool since 1990. I originally bought this tool for $160. This was, a big purchase back in the days for me when I was a teenager growing up. And like you can see here, this is where the brushes are, very similar to the DeWalt. And this is where all the junk kind of gets in there and caked in there. And so far, in almost 28 years, the only thing I've ever done to this machine as far as maintenance is change the brushes, clean out the housing, I re-grease some of the metal gears up here, and this thing just runs forever. Absolutely runs forever. This is just a cheapo 7 amp Craftsman die grinder. The body of this tool is very similar to the shape of the Flex PE14 and the Flex 3401 dual action, which I have right next to it. Like I said, this tool, I don't ever use this on a car. I specifically use this with different flap wheels, from 80 grit up to 600 grit. And I use this on metal polishing. Whenever I'm doing metal surface correction, like anything that comes off a mill, anything that's cast aluminum, cast bronze, brass, anything that's got parting lines, I use this tool just because it's got the power, it's got the torque, it's light, I can maneuver it around, and it just does the initial job when I'm doing metal work. Moving over here, this is the Flex 3401. I've had this tool for a long time. I absolutely love this tool. It's one of my favorite tools in my arsenal. I use this tool regularly, almost every week. And like I said, look, we can see here, I mean, it's got the similar type of ergonomic where you got the soft start trigger, you got your lock, and you got your wheel on the fly. But like I said, unlike the rotary buffers, you have to hold it up front, and this is where you get your maximum control. And the reason I like this tool is because you could actually do really good correcting with this tool, and on black surfaces or anything that's a dark colored surface, if you want to make sure it's perfect, I do a rotary and then I jump to this to make it perfect. And it's a little bit of extra time, but you know what? This tool is more productive and more efficient than using like a Roops 15 or Roops 21. Those machines, like the Roops, the dual actions, the Griots, Boss System, that stuff will not work for my lifestyle. I own both of those machines. I spent almost $850. I tried using them. They just don't work for the type of work that I'm doing. Polishing acrylic, polishing stainless steel, polishing aluminum, color sanding and buffing on hard clear coats or polyester finishes. Those machines just aren't going to do it. It's just too time consuming, a lot of vibration, and for me, having tools in my toolbox that I'm not using, I might as well not have them. So I sold them on eBay. And that's why everything that I own is forced driven, because it works for me. I have experience. I know how to use them. Last tool from Flex is the Compact 3. This is a great little tool, and I'm going to show you a little bit about it when I do a demo as far as how I use this tool. But unlike the bigger tools, you have your speed control in the rear, okay, back here. And this doesn't have a trigger down here. But all the tools in this category of this size are all the same way. It's pretty much an on and off switch, like I'll show you. See? So pretty much you have to set your tool and then go to your piece or whatever you're working on. And that's fine. You just have to get used to it. It doesn't have anything built in to flip it upside down, but like I said, it's so lightweight that I could one-hand this tool all day long and kind of do what I need to do. So I use this a lot on smaller projects. I use this a lot on metal refinishing for architectural work. Just because it's so small, I could get like a 3-inch or a 4-inch pad, and I could kind of go into locations with this tool by taking the handle off that I can't with the larger tools. And the last tool here, like I said, is just a Makita lithium-ion 18-volt cordless drill. And I just use a spindle with a 3-inch backing plate. And to be honest with you, I like this. It's really light, very ergonomic, easy to hold. And if you guys are like doing headlights or like small little touch-ups on a car or anything small, even if it's stuff around the house, you could take this tool and you could kind of make it so versatile. It's super easy to control, 2 speeds here, and this has enough grunt that with the right pads and the right compounds and techniques, you could do a lot of color correcting and scratch removal on a lot of surfaces, from acrylic, from base coat, clear coat paints, from lacquer paints, from single stage urethanes, and so forth. It's just a matter of technique. So just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown as far as the rotary direct drive tools that I have here, and then of course the single dual action from Flex, the 3401, which is actually my favorite machine out of all of these. And I just want to give you a rundown. So we're going to do something interesting here. I'm going to show you a sound level, and I want you guys to just see how different they are, okay? Because all of the machines on the table are made in Germany. The Black & Decker, of course, is made in America, and the DeWalt is made in China, and the Craftsman is made in China as well. So I just want to show you the refinement level and the loud decibels of all of these. So here's a DeWalt. I mean, it's got some noisy, it's definitely noisy. It definitely has, the noisy gears. Now, look at the difference of the Flex. Now, that's full RPM, and there's like no vibration being transmitted into the table it's resting on. And we go back to the DeWalt, and you could hear it, vibrating in the table. This has got a lot of torque, and the gears are definitely noisier. It's definitely a little annoying to me, but if you need a tool that's going to get the job done and the noise doesn't bother you, just don't let this stop you. But this just shows you how refined the higher end stuff is from Flex. Now here is, a 30-year-old tool that I've been using, on a regular basis, and just look at the torque and the speed that this thing puts out. zero gear chatter, zero vibration, instantaneous torque, no lag. This doesn't have a soft trigger, but you know, you could feather, you know, as you're working the panel and what you're doing, you could feather the trigger with this. This tool is incredible. I buy used ones on eBay for $250 just for spare parts because I don't ever want this tool to die. This thing is incredible. It's the best tool as far as this goes that I've ever owned in my life. Here is the Craftsman. Yeah, this is a pretty torquey, rough son of a bitch. But like I said, I just use it for rough work anyway. I would never use this, you know, to polish a car. Absolutely not. Here's the Flex 3401, another great tool. Super smooth. I mean, for a rotary dual action, the vibration is so much less than a Rupes 15 or 21 or the Griot's Boss system. And that's what I need because I have issues with my wrist and my thumb joint from surgery. And this tool I could use for hours. I don't get any issues. And that's another reason. That was the main reason why I bought this tool. You know, it just seems to work for me. Super smooth, super quiet. It doesn't, like I said, that's one thing about the Flex tools. I mean, you spend the money, but they're good, they're quiet, they're refined, and that's what I like in a tool, especially when you're using it a lot, you know? And then here's the Compact 3. I mean, look at that. I mean, you can't get smoother than that. We'll crank up the speed a little bit. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just quality craftsmanship. This stuff is incredible. I've had this stuff for years. It's some of the best stuff that I've found. I mean, I've tried Festool, I've tried Metabo. You know, I've tried a lot of other brands. I mean, I just like this stuff. And if I ever have a problem, if something breaks, I send it back to Flex North America. They're located down south. They send me back a new tool within like a week. So, you know, it's great. Can't beat this stuff. So everything here on the table, you know, it's great stuff. Everything does its purpose. But like I said, you can see the refinement level between a $200 DeWalt and then the $400 Flex. And then, you know, if according to inflation today, this would probably be like $500, but I paid $160 almost 30 years ago. This thing is just incredible. I mean, this is just a monster powerhouse. And like I said, they do the job. These tools make me a lot of money. This is, you know, pretty much how I survive. You know, I do a lot of work with these tools. You know, architectural work, automotive work, you know, just a ton of different things that I do with these tools. You know, from solid surface metal to, you know, painted finishes. All right, guys, first up on the chopping block is the DeWalt rotary polisher. Model number DWP849X, 7-inch to 9-inch. This goes from 600 RPM to 3,500 RPM. And like I said, it's a very nice machine, very well built on the outside. It's got really good ergonomics. I like the rubber grip here. I like, you know, the flip over rest if you want to flip it over to clean your pads. I really like the guards here for the motor to protect it from any kind of debris. These are really, really nice. Good touch. Easily serviceable brushes here, you know, down the road from now if you ever have to change them. And like I said, it's got the recessed arbor lock right here, so you can never really touch that, you know, no matter what. I mean, you really have to be looking for it to cause a problem with that. And like I said, it's a really well-built machine. It's got the rubber encapsulation over here, so this will protect anything on your car that you hit. And as far as weight goes, it's definitely a lot lighter than the stuff from 20 years ago and 30 years ago, but it's still heavy. It's still, you know, it's not like the Flex PE 14-2, whereas that's like a breeze. I could do that with one hand. This is a little bit heavier, not that much heavier, but just maybe 15-20% heavier. Not the end of the world. But overall, I mean, it's a very, very well-built machine. For the money, I mean, if you're looking to add a rotary polisher to your tool cabinet, you know, this is the way to go. I mean, if you don't have $400 to spend on the Flex, like I said, you have the option between this tool and the Makita. I don't recommend like the Harbor Freight stuff or these no-name brands. You know, just stay away from that stuff because DeWalt, well-built, has a really good warranty. The only thing I don't like about this tool is it's loud, and I don't like the gear chatter. That's just something that annoys me. I mean, when you're using it for a while, you get used to it, but it's just one of those things that I feel in this day and age, I mean, the whole housing and everything is so well built, you know, everything feels really quality, why they couldn't make the drive mechanism a little smoother. And I just think they can. You know, it's just something that is probably just some QC or tolerances that they just don't have at this price level. Whereas my 30-year-old Black & Decker is smooth as butter. There's no chatter. It's a monster, and it's smooth. There's no vibration. So, like I said, I'm gonna go over to the Shelby. I'm gonna just do a quick pass. I'm gonna show you how I control the machine, and you be the judge of that. So guys, we're going to use the 3M Perfected Series compound. I just put a little bit on a blue pad. Like I said, the car doesn't need buffing. So I don't want to put anything aggressive on it. The finish is flawless. There's no scratches. And I'm just doing this for a quick demo, just to show you guys the machine and the control of the machine. So usually we're going to start off, we'll start off at the low RPM. Alright, the one thing I'll tell you guys about this buffer is that it's super easy to control. It doesn't have the torque where it's going to pull you all over the panel the way my Black & Decker is. This thing is a breeze. Even though it's a little heavy, you don't feel it, you know, when you're working on a hood or anything like that. I mean, the 3M Perfected does leave a little bit of a haze, but like I said, it's relatively easy to use. And when you put a load on this tool, it does get a little quieter. It's when you're free spinning it when it gets really chattery and noisy. So it could just be the way it's designed, you know, as far as the gear drive. So, I mean, look at it. I mean, it works. It works fine. Super easy to use, and it's controllable. That's the thing. A lot of rotary polishers from back in the days, they were really, really hard to control. This machine for $200, well worth it, man. So I'm going to switch machines and I'm going to show you. Alright guys, we switched machines now. Now we got the Flex PE 14-2, the super lightweight. And like I said, we're just going to do a quick pass because the car doesn't need it. We'll start off low. I mean, look at this. This is one hand. That's how easy this tool is to control. And that's why I love it. I mean, look at this. So much smoother. It's like, really, it's like butter. So smooth, super quiet. And there you got it. I mean, this is my favorite tool as far as like user fatigue, sound decibel levels. I mean, it's just flawless. This thing is a breeze. You can't get easier to use than this. Honestly, you really can't. And you're not going to damage your paint. It's super easy, much easier to control than the DeWalt, and much easier to control than the old school ones. And like I said, you could just take your time on a modern car or a delicate finish and just go slow, and you have total control, like you just saw. So we're going to switch over to the Flex Compact, and I'm going to show you that tool. All right, guys, we got the Flex Compact here with a 4-inch 3M Perfected finishing pad with just a little compound. I'm just going to show you, really the control of the machine, and then I'm going to take the handle off because that's one of my favorite things about it is the maneuverability. So the thing is with this, you really got to, this is what I do usually with this machine because it doesn't have the soft trigger. I'll just spread the material around and then I'll fire it up so it doesn't spatter everywhere. Look, one hand. I mean, it's just super refined. I'll unscrew the handle for you. We'll leave that there, and I'll just show you how I use it. Like if you're working on a car and it's got a rear spoiler and the handle might get in the way, take the handle off. This tool is super easy to maneuver and get in there. And, you know, like especially little areas like this. But like I said, this is well worth the $300 that they sell it for. I love this tool, and especially when I'm doing metal work. You know, it's absolutely awesome. And like I said, I'm not going crazy with compounding because my car doesn't need it right now. I wish I had a black car that was destroyed so I could show you guys what these tools could do from step one to the final stage of surface correcting. But you guys could get an idea from the camera as far as the shine and what this stuff is producing. I mean, it's flawless. There's not a single scratch in my car regardless, but that's just the way I take care of them. For today is the Flex 3401. This is like my favorite tool, just for the results that it produces on black colored cars, and I have a lot of black cars. And I use this tool. I don't use this tool for metal polishing. I use this on architectural polishing of furniture, urethane clear coats, polyester clear coats, automotive, or anything like black lacquer. If it was a black lacquer table or you know, a vintage car with original single stage paint, this is my go-to tool. So check it out. Now there's a lot more vibration coming in due to the dual action, but it's not to the point where it causes any fatigue. But like I said, this machine is a little bit more fatiguing. It's probably the most fatiguing out of the bunch just because of the dual action vibration. You do get that vibration that comes in, but it's not as much vibration that you would get on a Roops 21 or the Griot's Garage system at the higher RPM. That produces a lot more vibration. So this, the 3401, I'm actually able, with the right pads and with the 3M Perfected system, I could actually color sand, you know, clear coats on cars and you know, final finish them with this one machine if I wanted to. And I do that all the time. Like I said, if I don't feel like busting out the big dog Rotary, and I just, you know, have let's say I have a couple of scratches in my hood, I will color sand the area with a 3M Trizac, like a 2000, 3000, up to a 5000, and then I would use the 3401 with the 3M Perfected series, and I would blend the entire panel in, and then do the final finish. I would do the whole section, and that would be it. It would be done. So I don't have to bust out the heavy rotary machine. I don't have to get the other pads, go through the cleaning process. So this machine's got enough torque and enough RPM and enough action that you can actually do that. You could do surface correction with it. And that's another reason why it's my favorite tool. So the 3401 I use regularly. The 14-2 I use regularly. The Black & Decker and the DeWalt, I use those regularly, mostly for architectural and metal finishing. Not always on cars. Only if I really, really need it. Or if it's like a stubborn project, I'll bust those out, depending on what I'm using. But for the most part, I use the Compact, Flex, the 3401, and the PE 14-2. So here we go. Just watch how easy this is to control. And it's got the light on the drill, which is great to highlight what you're doing. So, you know, if you don't have the Compact 3 or the money for one, get yourself a 3-inch backing pad and the mandrel. And I'm controlling the RPM by the trigger and how much I'm depressing the trigger. And it's just easy to use it. If you have one of these at your house, you know, buy the backing pad. You know, make it a dual-purpose machine. That's what I do. I don't just use it to drill holes. I use it a lot for doing polishing, whether it's metal polishing, little touch-ups, like, you know, something like this. Let's say I don't have the Compact 3 on hand, and let's say it's at work or somewhere, and I have the drill at home, then I use the drill to do small areas like this, the rear spoiler, around the door handle, stuff like that, or even inside the door jambs. I use this all the time. So you don't want to take the big machine here, even though you could tape this all up. I think it's just overkill. You don't need a big machine to do areas like this if you don't have to. So let me go over to the bench, and I'm going to give you my final thoughts on this whole demonstration here today. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the short demonstration video I did and the talk I did about the rotary polishers, even up to using the Makita cordless drill, and I just showed you how I use that. If I don't have the Compact 3 on hand, I always use this with the manual, and it's just super easy to control. So here's a rundown. Depending on your budget and depending on your needs, you know, if you have 200 bucks to spend, okay, that means if you only have 200 to spend, that eliminates anything from Flex, anything from, you know, Festool, anything from Roops, because those machines are a lot more money. Then you have the DeWalt, the Makita, or the 3M. I mean, either or, I mean, they're all pretty much the same machine. I think this is probably the better one out of the bunch. I like the ergonomics of this better. I like the feel of it better. I like the, you know, the shields over here for the motor. And I like the warranty. I mean, DeWalt's a really good brand. I never once had an issue with a warranty with them. Never broke a trigger. Their cords are super heavy duty. And like I said, you can see here, it's like, you know, super reinforced. It's not going to really pull out. And it's just a good machine. For 200 bucks, you know, yeah, it's a little noisy. It's got a little gear chatter at low RPM, but when you put load on it, it gets better. And yeah, the weight, you know, it just takes getting used to. So that's just one of those things. Now, if you guys have a lot of money to kill and you like to collect vintage relics, go on eBay and try to find one of these, the Black & Decker BuffMasters, and find one that's running. This machine is a powerhouse. You could buff out and use what I do it for, complete stainless steel exhaust systems. I've polished hundreds of feet of stainless with this machine. Doesn't get hot, doesn't blow up. You can't kill this machine, so this is incredible. Can't buy it in the stores, so you have to find one used and, you know, maybe rebuild it. Like I said, for what this is, if you guys don't want to use a drill and you think you're going to use a smaller tool, you know, quite often, this is worth investing. I mean, they're between $250 to $300. You know, these go on sale every now and then on Amazon and some of the websites online. And I like it. I like it because I could take the handle off, I could use it with one hand, and I could go into like barrels of, you know, billet aluminum wheels, chrome wheels, anything on a vintage car that you can't get into with a big polisher. I could kind of do that, you know. And this tool has the finesse, it has the smoothness, it has the control. Incredible value. Then here we go here with my 3401. Like I said, this produces the most vibration out of every tool here because of its a dual action force rotation, but it produces an incredible result. I don't get any carpal tunnel, I don't get any thumb joint pain using this for hours. It's a great machine, doesn't overheat for me and my needs. I use this just for automotive. I don't do architectural work with this unless it's like a tabletop, like a lacquer finish, urethane finish, or a polyester finish, you know, over something else. But I wouldn't use this to do metal. It's just not that tool for that type of application. But no, it's a great tool, very well built. I've had this one since 2009 and haven't blown it out since. So that's telling you, and I'm pretty rough on tools. And then the last tool here is like the PE14-2. If you guys want a rotary tool that you're probably never going to burn the paint, and you really want to learn and get that finesse, and you can, like, you know, really bump out your newer cars quick, and just a really nice, lightweight, smooth, cool running tool, this is the way to go. I mean, it's, you know, 389 bucks, but you get what you pay for. The smoothness and the refinement of this tool, there's no comparison to like the DeWalt or the Craftsman or the Makita. There's just no comparison. So this is a great tool. I use it a lot. I love it. I super recommend this tool if you guys have the budget. If you don't have the budget and you're looking for a tool, you know, let's say you just need one tool to do everything, I tell you, pick up a 3401, one of the best tools ever, especially for auto detailing. And if you want to pick up a rotary and you don't have the budget, you know, of some of these tools, you know, pick up the DeWalt. I think it's just a great value, super durable. Everybody in the body shops and commercial industries is using these, and they're pretty bulletproof. I mean, you can run this tool for 4 or 5 hours straight and you're not going to blow it up. And that's what you want. You don't want a tool that's going to burn up like some of the cheaper stuff on the market. But I'm a fan of Flex. I have been for quite a number of years. I have a bunch of the Flex tubing polishers. I have a lot of other tools from Flex that aren't here that have nothing to do with cars. But I just want to demonstrate the rotary circular type of tools in relation to architectural polishing, that what I do, and automotive. And then, like I said, don't forget, like I said, if you guys have, you know, a Makita cordless drill, if you don't, pick one up. It's a great tool, works great. I use it a lot to do small touch-ups and small little jobs. I mean, I could take this thing on the fly. I could throw this in my backpack and go down to a job site where I don't have maybe accessibility to an outlet. And I'll bring this tool with a couple of batteries, a couple of pads, backing plates, and compounds, and I could just do what I need to do on the fly. And that's what's really cool about it. So for me, it's versatile because of the cordless capabilities. And it's super lightweight, very easy to control, and it just does the job. So if you guys are looking for any kind of polishers, you know, this is my recommendation. This is the stuff that I use. Maybe you guys are using different stuff. Maybe you guys don't like the Flex brand. It doesn't really matter. I mean, this is the stuff that I'm using and what makes me money. And this stuff holds up. I abuse these tools. I run these things non-stop. Non-stop when I'm doing a production job or something. And they never let me down. Especially my bad boy right here. This thing has been with me since 1990. And this is where it all started. Right here. This beast. But I hope you guys liked the video. I'm gonna do a lot more tool reviews soon, as far as stuff that I use to make my life easier. And I just wanted to show you guys today, these are the tools that make my life easier when it comes to surface correction. And like I said, any questions or comments, post them below. You could always email me direct at autofanatic@yahoo.com if you have any questions, whether it's regarding architectural refinishing, automotive, aviation, motorcraft, whatever you got, even if it's polishing an acrylic table. Send me a note. I'll walk you through it. I'll tell you what to use, what pads, what speeds, and technique. And hopefully you guys can pick something up on this. Have a great day.